Look, okay, I know this is my 4th Sonic video in a row. I know. I promise, just one more. Let me just do one more. It's your favorite Walmart brand Cybershell back to talk about Sonic some more. But what can I say? I just can't help it. I got a lot to say about this furry bastard. Now, it's no secret that Sonic's got kind of a bad rap among the general gaming populace. Now, don't get me wrong, Sonic's always had obsessive, mouth-breathing man-children like myself to keep SS Sonic afloat, but I think it's fair to say that Sonic's days as the 2nd most important video game property are behind him, sadly. It's probably like, I don't know, fucking Fortnite or some shit? Among Us, maybe? Do people still play Among Us? But you know, maybe it didn't always have to be that way. In fact, I'm of the opinion that his current less prestigious reputation can be traced back to a singular point in time, which was the release of the complete and utter PR nightmare that was Sonic the Hedgehog in the year of our Lord 2006. Now, I'm fully aware that there are avid defenders of this game who will die on the hill that Sonic 06 is a great game, which, I don't know if I would say that. I'm sorry, Sonic 06 had a good story? Okay. Oh, okay. I see what we're doing here. Okay. And while I can admit that I don't exactly agree with the severity of Sonic 06's insane mouth-foaming mob mentality backlash it's received over the years,
get off the wall, you slutty fat bitch!
I can also recognize that Sonic 06 isn't without significant flaws, and it's easy to see why what was meant to be a AAA next-gen Sonic renaissance was met with such disappointment. I mean, come on, they really called it Sonic the Hedgehog, as if to say all the other shit before didn't even fucking matter. Oh, you liked all those stupid, dumbass baby games? Well, I got news for you, kiddo. This ain't your grandpa's Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, Sonic 06 is essentially the spiritual Sonic Adventure 3, and after a couple experimental mainline entries, fans were excited to see what a return to form that takes advantage of the technical advancements of the newest hardware could look like. But, as you are no doubt aware, fans didn't really exactly get what they were hoping for. The game was clearly unfinished, but it got pushed out the door anyway, and Sonic's been scrambling to pick up the pieces of his shattered reputation ever since.
What is this? Get off! What is this?
After that, the Sonic franchise was never the same, and in the years that followed, Sega did everything they could to pull Sonic out of the well. I mean, they were not gonna let Sonic 06 happen again, you know, until they kind of did.
Today, we're gonna be reviewing Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric.
I wonder if this is gonna be a really full review,
This isn't
or
gonna be
just like
a really full review.
Well, unlike a full review where you would
go
go into a lot of detail of what it should have became. Yeah, exactly.
Does this game run at 14 or 16 frames per second? I don't know.
But you know, I have a hunch that those guys at Sega know exactly what they're doing. In fact, I just so happen to have exclusive insider live video footage of the studio at this exact moment. Let's tune into Sega HQ to see the genius in motion. So, what the hell happened here? Well, it's yet another awe-inspiring tale of Sega's corporate greed and incompetence.
If you had to choose between
Sonic's reputation
and all the money I have in my pocket, which would you take? I'd take the money.
Long story short, Sega wanted the game out in time for Sonic's 15th anniversary, but they also decided it would be a good idea to split the development team in half so that Sonic Team could also work on a game for the then upcoming Nintendo Wii, which would later release as Sonic and the Secret Rings. So, thank God. I don't even want to think about a world without Sonic and the Secret Rings. Oh, the fucking horror.
I wish for a mountain of handkerchiefs. Now, just let yourself cry. As much as you need to. You'll have plenty of handkerchiefs to help you through it.
Combine that with Sonic creator Yuji Naka leaving mid-development and the team's general unfamiliarity with the new hardware, and the skeleton crew that was tasked with working on Sonic 06 was basically fucked from the start, which I feel like is kind of a shame. Sonic Team clearly had lofty ambitions for this game, and although I doubt their fully realized vision would have been without flaws, I mean, Eggman looks like this, how good could it have really been? On the bright side, Sonic fans are, let's say dedicated?
How can you argue that this is a bad game?
There's way too much 2D platforming.
2D platforming. Shut up!
Anyway, there are loads of unused assets and promotional material that fans have documented that can give us an idea of what a finished Sonic 06 might have looked like. First thing I want to talk about is the 2005 Tokyo Game Show demo. As far as I'm aware, this is the first time that gameplay for Sonic 06 was ever exhibited, and I should note that it's completely within the realm of possibility that a lot of this stuff featured in this demo would have been cut even without Sonic Team's time constraints. But I'm bringing it up anyway, because fuck you. This demo had a deep debug mode active to prevent players from getting stuck or dying in places they shouldn't, since the build was so early in development. But through these debug controls, we know that the demo featured a day-night cycle, which was ultimately omitted from the final game. This might have just been a way for the devs to show off the game's fancy new lighting engine, but still, I really would have liked to have seen this feature implemented into the final build. Ultimately, a day-night cycle did end up making its way into Sonic Unleashed, but there's this horrible glitch that occurs in certain parts of the game that turns Sonic into this stretchy arm fur monster, but he does scream funny when you die, so it kind of levels out. It's not a glitch, it's a central mechanic of Sonic Unleashed. No, I'm tired of these Sega apologists defending these buggy, unfinished messes. It's disgusting. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Sonic 06. Criminally underrated, by the way. Sonic also grinds significantly faster in this build. I'm gonna be honest, I fucking hate how the camera moves around in this build. Oh my god, I feel like I'm gonna fucking throw up. Interestingly, some leaning variations of the game's grinding animation exists in this build, so grinding would have presumably functioned similarly to how it does in prior games, but these animations never made the cut. There was another playable demo shown off for the game at E3 2006 that actually included a number of differences from the final game, with a lot of them being pretty significant improvements over what we ended up getting in the retail release. For starters, there's no voice acting in this build, so that's a massive improvement. This demo features two stages, one for Sonic and one for Silver. In this build, Sonic and Silver both have much faster base speed than in the final build, which I really would have preferred. I mean, apparently anyway. I honestly can't really tell because it seems like this build kind of runs like shit.
Jump computer, stop beeping!
In the final build, you really feel that speed cap. I think leaving it increased would have gone a long way to making the game feel better to control. This build also features a few extra animations that are missing from the final build, like Sonic curling into a ball before landing for these wall jump segments, and also having a few variations on his trick animation after a homing attack, which in the final build he just had the one. I'm not really sure why these would have been removed, but they look better than what we ended up getting. The homing attack even retains the downward arc it had in the previous adventure-style games in this build, and you can spam the fuck out of it too. The homing attack always felt kind of stiff to me in the retail version, with Sonic just kind of jutting off in a straight line and then dropping like a rock to the ground. You don't retain any of your momentum like the previous games. Because of these differences, it seems like the E3 build would have played a lot better than the retail release. I'm not really sure why these features would have been removed. I seem to recall that Sonic Team had to revert to an earlier build when they shipped out the game for some reason, which would explain why these features ended up going missing for the final build, but I couldn't find a reliable source on that, so take that with a massive grain of salt. As for the final build, there are a ton of features that exist in the game's data that are either unused or unfinished, including a long dormant fan favorite feature that hadn't been seen in years that was finally set to make its triumphant return. And if it had, I can personally guarantee that today Sonic 06 would be revered as a masterpiece. That's right, I'm talking about the ledge grab mechanic from Sonic Adventure 2, baby. Let's go. Oh, they also scrapped Super Sonic in normal gameplay. Anyway, yeah, there's a scrapped rainbow gem in the game's data that goes completely unused in the final release. For those of you who aren't aware, Sonic gets these equipable gems in the game that allow him to make use of a bunch of different abilities, and each one is completely broken in its own unique way. This meter here is supposed to deplete as you use them, but the final build is bugged, so you can just use them all you want with no repercussions. It's completely fucking insane. But one of Sonic's gems actually goes entirely unused, and it's this rainbow gem. This would have given Sonic the ability to transform into Super Sonic in normal gameplay rather than only for the final boss, which would have been the first time since the classic Sonic games that you would have been able to do this. And this idea wouldn't be revisited until Sonic 4 in 2010. And lastly, there's a bubble shield that exists in the game's code that's entirely functional, but it never appears in game. This mechanic must have been damn close to making the cut because it even appears right here on page 11 of the game's official manual. But yeah, you won't find it anywhere in the game, and it would have used a modified version of the Sonic 1 shield sound, which I think sounds kind of funny. But yeah, most of this shit probably wouldn't have made a huge difference in the game's overall quality, but still, it couldn't have hurt to have these additions present in the final build. Now, most, if not all, of these unfinished and unused features have been entirely re-implemented into Project 06 though, so if you want to know what it might have been like to play this version of Sonic 06, I'd strongly recommend checking it out. You might be surprised by just how much better this game plays with some seemingly minor minor changes, but it makes it really hard to go back to the original. Anyway, that's pretty much all I got for today. I'm still aiming for a new video on a semi-bi-weekly basis, so if you had a good time with this video, consider clicking the thing down there if you want to see more in the future. Starting next video, I'm transitioning to Sonic-related ASMR content. Here's a preview.
Guys, I'm thinking about getting one of those like the ear microphones, like the ones with the human ears on both sides, so that way you can you hear me right now? I don't think they can.